Hey guys, it's Drew again. Along the timeline, there's specific years that pinpoint certain things in our memories, both as baseball history fans as well as card collectors. And today, I'm going to highlight one of those years and show off some of the pieces I have from that year. That year? 1952. So let's check it out. So, like I mentioned, 1952 is a big year. And as a card collector, we may think, oh, 52, that's the 52 Tops, the year where Tops finally does a breakout thing after their 51 card game set. They really entered in and upped the game of what cards should look like or ended up becoming, and we know the history and all that kind of stuff. The year that Bowman really, I think, has one of the most beautiful classic sets before they started to scramble. To me, that was the last year that they developed their own thing where they weren't trying to compete with Tops as hard with their 1953 version. And as a baseball fan, we may look back and think, okay, well, what happened in 52? Oh yeah, well, the Yankees won again, and you may love that or hate that depending on where you stand on the Yankees and their history. But within 1952, that was the midst of that rivalry between the Dodgers and the Yankees, the Subway Series, and they faced off each other back and forth, and the Yankees ended up winning time after time until finally in 1955 the Dodgers finally won their first World Series in Brooklyn. But in 1952, it's just kind of a pivotal year. So I started doing some research, especially on the World Series. And the reason is I was thinking about, well, what can I show off? And, well, what I have is, and I've never shown it in a video, and I don't really know why, but I actually have a program from the 1952 World Series, the Dodgers against the Yankees. And if you don't know, here's a little insight on this specific year. There's two versions of this, and basically the cover looks the same, except one, the Dodgers is on the top and the Yankees where it should be, and the other one, the Yankees would be on top versus the Dodgers. And that signifies which stadium they were sold at. So this one, with the Dodgers on top, this would have been sold at Ebbets Field. Now, Ebbets Field hosted 4 out of the 7 games. It was a 7 game series. So games 1, 2, 6, and 7. So this would have been from one of those years. Now, unfortunately, I don't know which one. I could hope which one it was, for specific things that happened that maybe this was there to witness, but I don't know because this wasn't scored. But as I flipped through this, it was really interesting to kind of find out some stuff. And I looked and it was typical stuff, advertisements, and then there's all the articles are about the Dodgers, which is another way you could tell that this was a Dodgers or an Ebbets Field one. But one of the things I found interesting, let's see if I can find the page real quick. Here it is. It's one of the pages that's talking about future Dodgers that may come up to the thing. So this is people that were in their minor league system at the time, and it shows a number of different players. And from what I see, I think only 4 of them made the major leagues. But what I find interesting was it highlights a 14-game winner in the International League, a very young, very excited about being a baseball player, Tommy Lasorda, and I thought that was kind of cool. So, but this is a really neat. It's a neat thing to flip through, and I find it a great time capsule of what it was like in '52. The advertisements, for cars or different things, clothing and such. But I just love looking through this thing, and honestly, I don't think I've ever looked through it since I won this. I won this at an auction in an auction house years and years ago. I don't remember who, and it's been encased and just as a display piece for many years. But it's really kind of neat. I wish it was scored. There's a mystery to it. I don't know. I don't know who was witness, but some of the stuff that happened in that series that was interesting. First of all, it totaled a total of 11 different future Hall of Famers between the Yankees and the Dodgers, including, of course, card time, Yogi Berra, and that's his 52. Uh, you've got Duke Snider from the Dodgers, and another one, of course, is one of my favorites, and Pee Wee Reese, and this is a 52 Tops, the high numbers, and of course, another great story card for me is this one with the Roy Campanella, and it's not the card as much as the case. If you don't know the story, go watch my videos. It's in there 100 times. But and then finally, my favorite just Dodger from that time, of course, was Carl Erskine, and So a couple of things about the World Series, just some statistics. This is the first time, which was in Game 6, where Mickey Mantle hit a home run, one of his 18 World Series home runs. It happened in Game 6 of 1952. Another thing I found interesting, all 7 games played, there was a difference of score of 2 or 1 run in all of the games except for one. One of the games was kind of a blowout. It was 7-1 when the Yankees won in Game 2. And but except for that, every single game was either 1 or 2 runs difference between the winner and the loser. So I want to talk about that blowout game because that was Game 2, and it was my guy Carl Erskine got the loss in that game. He gave up 5 runs to the Yankees, and they ended up losing 7-1. But what's interesting is when he came back and he pitched again, he actually got the win, and it was the only game that went to extra innings. It was 11 innings, and Carl Erskine pitched all 11 innings. In fact, when the Dodgers went ahead in the top of the 11th, and then he faced the bottom the 11th inning. Carl Erskine shut down the Yankees with a 1-2-3 inning, getting out 3 future Hall of Famers: Phil Rizzuto, Mickey Mantle, and Johnny Mize. So a little redemption for my man Carl Erskine, coming back, pitching 11 innings. Another interesting thing about that specific game is it was the longest game, not only in innings but in time. That out of all 7 of the games, the game took a whole, if you can imagine, 3 hours even to play. 3 hours. In fact, the average game length of all 7 games was only 2 hours and 45 minutes, including one that was just 2.5 hours. So it's amazing to see how much game has changed, and today whether they're trying to speed up the game, but really kind of interesting. Um, so there's a lot of history to the series and stuff, and it's one of those rabbit holes you go around and dig. And I thought it was just kind of fun to look at some of the stuff that I have and share it with you guys from 1952 and how that pivotal year meant so much for both Dodger fans as well as Yankee fans at that time to watch that season, to watch the World Series, to watch what happened, to be able to think about who was there at the game. And also just for baseball fans in general, we look back in history and we think about, well, that was the middle of the Yankees' run of 5 World Series in a row, and it was the middle of that battle between those two great teams. But as card collectors, we look at different cards and what the difference between the Topps version of a card as well as, let's say, the Bowman version, and the size and stuff. But I think they're both beautiful sets, and it's just really it's a lot of fun to look at, and it was fun to look at this. So I don't know. I hope you guys learned some stuff. I hope you were entertained, but it was just fun to look back and see. It was fun to look at this program and just see different things, the different ways they advertise things, the pictures that were used, the players that they talked about and highlighted, and looking at it from the mind's eye and the historical knowledge of what we know, stuff like we know who Tommy Lasorda ended up being, and not the great pitcher that they proclaim that he might be, but rather the manager and the legacy that he left with the Dodgers. But anyway, I had a fun time looking through this stuff. It was just kind of fun to get this magazine out. I hope you enjoyed it. It's the only program that I have from any World Series. And but until next time, you guys be good.